Greetings to all of you from a little village in the middle of nowhere in Andhra Pradesh in India. I apologize for my Spartan room. However, we're going to continue on with ambassador notes. We had a whole series on Ramadan, and today I want to talk about one of the two great feasts of the Muslim calendar. One is Eid al Fitr, and the other one is Eid al Adha. And we're going to go ahead and look at Eid al Adha today. Now, if you want to pronounce this correctly, it's tricky because it has three letters that don't even exist in the English alphabet. But you can anglicize it and say Eid al Adha, and people will understand what you're talking about. Eid al Adha is Arabic. It means the feast of the sacrifice, and it refers to when Abraham took his son, in this case it's Ishmael, not Isaac. He took his son Ishmael up the mountain to be sacrificed. This goes back to that whole question of the Abrahamic faiths, then the idea that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all go back to the faith of Abraham. If you have listened to my other videos, you know that I don't find this very compelling or convincing, because the fact of the matter is the story about Abraham going to sacrifice his son in the Quran is quite a bit different than that same story in the book of Genesis. In the Quran, he tells his son Ishmael, I keep on having a dream that I'm sacrificing you. And Ishmael says, well, you should do it then. So they go up there, they're going to sacrifice Ishmael, and then Allah or his angel says, stop it. And they do have the provision of a sacrificial animal. So that is what it celebrates. Both, on the one hand, it celebrates the faith of Abraham, who was among the great men of God, the great men of faith. Even when called to do something that seemed to go completely against logic, he did it. And then also the salvation of Ishmael, who would later on become the father of the Arab nations, and also an ancestor of the prophet of Islam. The one that they claim was a prophet. Let's qualify that. So all of those things go together. So what do you do? Well, it's kind of like Christmas or Easter celebrations. It's very much local. There are a couple of things that everyone is supposed to do. You're supposed to go to the mosque after daybreak or to an open space. Either one is fine, to meet together with other Muslims for the prayer and then to hear a sermon called a khutbah, which is an exhortation to righteous living. Usually those are in the local language, even if the prayers they have to be done in Arabic, but the khutbah would normally be in the local language, not in Arabic. What are some other traditions in other places? Well, in some parts of the world, they'll buy children new clothing, so it's a time to show off your new threads. In some places, there are local foods that they'll make, especially like sweets or samosas, and it really depends on where you are in the world. Traditionally, you're supposed to sacrifice an animal and then have part of that sacrifice for you and your family, for your neighbors, for your friends. And then you're supposed to give 1/3 of that sacrificed animal, to the poor Muslims. You can't give it to the poor Christians or atheists or Jews or Hindus or Buddhists. You have to give it to poor Muslims. Imagine being a poor person and you're just not a Muslim, and someone is coming around giving out a bunch of rice and meat, which would be a common way in most places to serve this food. And they say, well, you're not a Muslim, you don't get any. This is totally logical, totally makes sense according to the Islamic way of thinking and according to their own religion. But there are some great questions that you can ask your Muslim friend. You can ask a question like, okay, so you celebrate the faith of Abraham. What is faith? What does it mean to have faith in someone or something? What does it mean to have faith in God? This is a good question. It's not offensive and it's not intrusive. So that's a great question to ask. Another good question to ask is to say, well, we have a similar story. Can I read it to you from our Bible? And then you can kind of compare and contrast. Because again, in the Ishmael one, Abraham says, I keep dreaming that I'm going to sacrifice you. And Ishmael says, yep, let's go do it. So it's a very different type of story. Use this. And if sometimes people will invite you over for a meal, so go ahead and accept that. If you don't know what kind of food to bring, go vegetarian. Vegetarian always works with any kind of Islamic feast or dinner. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Also, make sure to check out our videos on Ramadan. Sorry if there's any background noise. God bless you all from the back country of India.